Welcome to the Sales Queen podcast, where we teach women how to turn their skills into sales and monetize their message so they can finally sell with the clarity, confidence, and certainty that they've always wanted to. No longer does the game of sales need to be an old boys club. It's time for you to sell like a queen. Well, welcome everybody to this episode. Did I just record half an episode and only to realize that the mic wasn't working? Yes, I did. Love that for me. So we're bringing the take two. First is the worst, second is the best energy today. And we are making lemonade out of lemons. You know what? The sun is shining and it's a great day and I'm enjoying the summer. So ain't nothing going to bring me down, right? That's the kind of attitude we should have every day. Part of being a successful entrepreneur is being able to adapt to circumstances that don't go your way sometimes and just realizing that let's not make something that is a moment into a monument. Can I get an amen? Do not make something that can totally just be fleeting and passing away. Don't build it into something that you just totally let ruin your day. Okay. I love the scripture that says, let your heart not be troubled and neither let it be afraid. That's a word for somebody today. You don't have to let your heart be troubled. Okay. And if something's consistently making your heart be troubled, you should probably kick that person out of your life, just being honest. I think a lot of times we sit in the defense seat, the back seat of our life, when in reality, it's you and God up front, baby, and nobody else, right? And God's never going to fail you. He's always got your back. So, anyways, we're not talking about that at all today. We're going to be talking about the top 3 sales mistakes under 10K consistent months. So, if you're somebody that is stuck at 1K, 2K, 3K, all the way up to 9K, maybe you're hitting 10K and then you pop up to like some 30K months, some 20K months. I was definitely there for a really long time. And because everybody has something called a faith money minimum. Say it with me, a faith money minimum. Okay. And we talk about this a lot because, and why we dive in sales school into mindset first and foremost before everything else. Whether you're, a client that's already at 50K a month, or whether you're somebody who's just starting, or whether you're somewhere in between, or you're at 100K a month, all those things are really awesome. But what I have found is that consistently there are mindset hurdles that you have to learn how to jump over, navigate, go through, not really sidestep because you really have to go through it to learn what you need to learn to get to that next income level. But for so long, I questioned like, man, am I just not good enough to ever reach 50K months? Am I just not good enough to reach 100K months? But in reality, you guys, I want to encourage you that I was definitely worth it the whole time. Sometimes my skill set wasn't there, and that was just, reflective of that. But a lot of times it was my mindset about money, and it was my mindset about my identity, and it was my mindset about just everything. It was all in my head. And we were all raised with different money minimums. Okay. So, based off of what your parents did, what you were able to perceive through your 5 senses, what rooms were you in growing up? What did you hear in terms of people talking about money? What did you hear in terms of people talking about sales, talking about what is serving people, what's not serving people? People come to us all the time and they have weird mindsets about what sales is and why they would be worth a certain number. And one of my favorite things to do because of the identity shift that happens immediately when I'm able to challenge them in this is they'll say, well, I just don't know if it's worth that much. I said, okay, well, we have 2 problems here. So one, how can we make our problem or our product, our service genuinely more valuable if you're worried about that? Because of course we never want to be unethical, right? 100%. Let's all raise our hands. We want people to be mind blown by the quality of our product. I just got a message this morning from somebody who just our latest person who joined sales school. And she was like, man, I'm just learning so much. The caliber of this training is incredible. And I'm like, wow, thank you. Because that's the biggest compliment somebody could ever give me in the entire world, right? And then it's got another message right before this saying, hey, I just sold a random $1,500 deal, one of our marketing clients that's really good at marketing and does more proposal-based sales. And she said, it's only going to take me about 2 hours to fulfill, right? And that confidence just oozing from her when I talked to her just a couple months ago and she was sold into the program and she was like, I just hate selling. I just want to do the back end. I just hate sales. And now I see the confidence and the chutzpah and the it factor that she's selling with. And I just love it. She goes, got a zero gravity close, which is what we call an objectionless close. Anyways, just those things are so awesome. And they all reflect from our mindset, right? So one of the problems is problems we want to solve is making sure that we're elevating our services to make sure that they're equitable and that people get in there and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is just the most amazing thing in the world," and which creates testimonial and word of mouth and these different things. Now, the other side of it is our mindset about the thing where it actually might be valuable enough, which I don't know if I've ever actually had a situation where something wasn't valuable enough, especially as women, because I think we're just givers naturally. And actually the real problem there is that their mind is telling them, I don't know how to conceptualize what 10K even means, so I'm definitely not going to sell it. Hear me? So, this is why I encourage people to invest in programs at the same level that they're going to be selling their programs. Because when you invest in something at that level, you know what you expect at that level, right? Like the last mastermind that I joined was $60,000. So, and that's not to say, oh, look at me, look at me. I'm just saying, well, if I wanted to have a $60,000 offer, which I created one right after that, is I was like, okay, well, now I know what I kind of expect for 60K. So now I feel like I have the chutzpah to be able to say, here's my offer for 60K, right? And I know what it feels like on the client side. So from a sales standpoint, that feels ooey gooey and awesome to me because I know what I expected when I was receiving that mentorship, right? So that's just psychology is so important when it comes to sales. And when you're trying to build to that next faith level, that money energy level of what you believe that you're worth, you believe that your product is worth, you believe that what your service is worth, part of that is mindset. And then part of it is your offer, and then the other part of that is the skill set to be able to execute, right? Like if we don't know how to play chess, we're probably going to fail at playing chess every single time. Well, why do we expect anything different in our business, right? So if I don't understand marketing, if I don't understand the kinds of things that create nice hooks and headlines for content marketing, then yeah, organic marketing is going to be super overwhelming, or the thought of posting on Instagram can be super overwhelming. The same thing is with sales. If you have no idea what it looks like or to have language to sell and close and connect with people, because really sales is service, right? Then of course it's going to be overwhelming going from whatever your mental model of what $5,000 is worth, or what that looks like, or why you should pay $5,000 for something, and then going and trying to come up with an offer to package that together and then confidently say, it's $5,000, right? Which usually people come across saying, oh, it's $5,000. Like they just burned their hand on a grill and they're throwing the pan on the ground and it's going doing because it hurt, right? That should not be how the energy of which we are delivering our products and our services, right? We should say, hey, and for this investment, for this transformation, for you to go from somebody who can't even walk up the stairs, looks at herself in the mirror and cries because you're so overweight, and you know that you are, and you know that food's controlling your life, you know it's not actually hormonal, but that you just feel completely trapped by the fact that food is announcing and dictating and is the narrator of the entirety of your life. What would that be worth to you to not feel that way anymore? Okay, well, how much money have you spent on diet products? How much money have you spent on trainers? How much money have you spent on a gym membership that you've never used? How much money have you spent on excessive food eating that you haven't even finished and then you've thrown away? Thousands of dollars. Okay, great. Well, then for this transformation where I'm going to walk you through and hold your hand throughout this process, not only physically and nutritionally, but also mentally and emotionally as your one on one coach. And I'm only going to do this with 10 people this year. It's just 5K for that transformation. Now, do you feel the difference of that? Do you feel how astronomically different because of my certainty and my confidence of which I'm selling that with? You're like, oh my gosh, I want that transformation. Probably some of y'all that don't even need to lose 50 pounds were like, I want to sign up for that because the way that I delivered it, right? Because didn't that feel like I was serving you? Didn't that make you feel safe and comfortable that I was leading you through that sale rather than like, and it's 5K and I'm about to puke, right? This is why so much of it comes down to the way that we sell. Okay, I'm totally off track. So let's actually get into what we were supposed to talk about today, which is the top 3 sales mistakes under 10K consistent months. Okay, so like I said, a lot of it is mindset. So here are the biggest 3 things. So, number one, you don't typically at this level actually have an irresistible offer that's validated. And you probably have a lot of personal life problems or limiting beliefs that manifest in your life and your business. Okay. So, because of this, you're probably also dealing with, I'm not 100%, if I'm being honest, confident that I am an expert and that I'm worthy of charging high ticket. I'm worthy of making that much money. I'm worthy of somebody working with me at that level. So, what usually happens is like you're kind of selling and learning at the same time to get other people results as you're still learning. And that's totally okay. Okay. We all start out this way. I started off Powerhouse Pageantry, $50, taking calls in the back of my mom's van on Zoom. Super ratchet. Okay. Not cute at all. Like, literally, how did that work? Granted, it was like 10 years ago, right? Tech wasn't what it is today. Zoom, I was like, I swear I was like user number 7 of Zoom, of the entire Zoom Incorporated, most likely. But anyways, God will give you grace and anointing for you just stepping out. Okay. He'll put the super on your natural, but your job is to walk. Your job is to receive those strategies from heaven and work with a coach in the natural, and then walk, and keep getting better at what you do. All you have to do is be a couple steps ahead of who you're serving, and they'll still get blessed by it as long as you keep walking and you keep growing. Okay. So, you being not 100% confident about how you can serve people, kind of that imposter syndrome, is number one. Okay. Number two, this is kind of 1B. Okay. Other mindset issues that happen at this level: distractions, not being good at managing yourself, afraid to charge high ticket, afraid of posting content, lack of consistency in your habits and showing up. Here's another big one. Okay. Friends and family not being supportive of you, which causes doubt, which is like the start of this tornado cycle of, you go and you get really, really inspired and motivated and you take action. And then you go home and your spouse isn't supportive, or your mom's not supportive, or you go back to college where everybody's thinking at this level, but you're thinking at this level. Or you go back to your job as a barista and you're like, man, am I ever going to make more than $9 an hour? Okay. Our environment matters. Why did I change my office up? If you guys are watching, and I have a brand new setup, because this inspires me. And my husband finally convinced me. He's like, babe, whenever you go into your office, like, you don't want to be there. So I literally spent an entire day. I turned on some worship music and some sermons. And for probably 6 hours, I reoriented my entire office, put up different pictures, different things that inspire me. I've got my wedding pictures over here, family. I have some other things. I need more 3M stickies. But just this whole vibe now, like, looks way better. Like, it actually looks like a podcast set, with lighting and cool things like that. We're going to add some more. But your environment really matters, whether that's people or whether that's the space that you work in. I always encourage my mom clients, because most of my clients in sales school are moms. I'm like, do you have a door you can close? If you have toddlers, do you have a door you can close? Because a lot of times they don't. And they put themselves last, and they're wondering, oh my gosh, why am I dipping down this month? And I'm like, if I were to be a fly on the wall in your house, okay, were you even giving yourself a chance to succeed in the first place? Or were you expecting to build $1 million business inside of a freaking zoo? Because that ain't gonna happen. You are Superwoman to an extent, but you are not God himself, okay? And when people are yelling, mom, 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 and crawling all over you, and they need you every 5 seconds, and you don't even have a door that you can close, okay? It's not your ADHD. You're just a normal person who gets distracted, and to be expected, right? So what boundaries do you need to set in place so that mom actually has work time, so that you actually have a chance of pushing through to this next level, okay? Here's the other thing. What are you listening to? Are you watching Netflix for 5 hours a day when that could be your business time? And yes, I understand if you're still working a full-time job, which typically if you're between, 0 and 5K, I think you should be working some kind of a job, even part-time, just so that you don't have so much feast and famine that you're making stupid decisions in your business. And honestly, so you can have a little bit of extra cash to just travel or invest in a mentor, or do whatever you need to do. I don't encourage people just to go and quit their jobs when they're at 0 to 5K. There are a lot of jobs that you can find online now where you're working like 30 hours a week from home that are still full time, and you're making a decent income, and then your income from your business can really supplement that until they're equal, and then you can ultimately cut that off with a lot more peace. Obviously be led by the Lord, but that's my recommendation. Typically between 0 and 5K is get something that you can shut your brain off, and then you can take those 5 hours in the evening, 3 hours, 2 hours, heck, in the evening to work on that. But again, So often people are really hard on themselves and they're not even setting themselves up for success. So one of the first things that we do with all of our clients is we do a time audit. We literally do a full productivity audit where we see where you're wasting time and where you actually do have more space to build in your business than you think that you do. And then we build in the boundaries that you need to set to be able to actually say yes to your dreams and to stop getting so discouraged when they don't happen, when in reality, your schedule was making it impossible for them to happen in the first place. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just something wrong with your schedule and it's whack and it needs fixed, but we can help you. So, environment, friendships, think of all the things that are taking from your bucket and then think of the things that are adding to your bucket. And if you're not in abundance in terms of you have more in your bucket at the end of the week, I'm sorry, sister, but you're just your business is not going to grow. It's just a simple math. You can't pour from an empty cup. So fill your cup, cut off some friends who are staying in the same place, say see you later, set some boundaries, find that one person or join a community of people that can lock arms with you, and I promise you you'll start seeing yourself go do, 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 start upticking towards progress. Okay, so that's number one, is kind of the mindset component. Number two is a lack of clarity on product market fit. So you call this also like your it factor or your unique selling point, unique selling proposition. Okay, so who do you help and how do you help them? Three things with your USP: one specific problem, one specific person, one specific solution. So another thing that I see all the time of why people can't make sales or why they struggle with marketing or just their business isn't growing, especially if they're between 0 and 10K, although I've seen this too even up to like 30K, is they really struggle with their elevator pitch. If I say, who are you, what do you do, and how do you help people? How many of y'all have been really uncomfortable, like at a networking event or a wedding or whatever, and somebody who's very clearly new to the game, God bless them, takes like 45 minutes to share what they do. And then at the end, you're just like, I still have no idea what they do. Like Landon and I will like, we call it car talk. We'll debrief in the car, right, about things privately. And I'm just like, so what did you think about this? And he'll be like, I have no idea what the heck they're talking about. And so you need to be able to say, hi, I'm Megan Rones, founder of salesqueen.com, and I help Christian women, Christian coaches, to scale from 5 to 30K with sales, whatever, right? Or I help Christian female coaches scale their online businesses to 100K a month, right? Or peacefully. You could add in some emotions there if you want. But if you don't know how to say that with your eyes closed, then no one else is going to understand it, okay? So you're not just a fitness coach. What kind of fitness coach? You're not just a blogger. What kind of blogger? What kind of writer? What kind of PR person? What kind of what else do people do? Mental health therapist. What kind of mindset coach? For who? Where? A great example of this is real estate agents. Okay. What kind of business do you think that you could attract if you stopped saying, I'm a real estate agent, and you said, I am a luxury suburban real estate agent specializing in 3,500 plus square foot homes that are 4 bedrooms or more. Or I'm a luxury real estate agent in West Omaha that specializes in blah, 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 or specializes in custom homes, right? Whatever that is, that little bit of differentiation, you guys. Lan and I are looking for a 6-bedroom home right now because we want to have a child in the next couple years. We need 2 offices and a master bedroom and a guest bedroom. So that's 4 bedrooms right there before any children, right? So we're looking for a 5 or 6-bedroom home. And if somebody were to actually come to us, I'm probably going to get so many realtors talking to me after this, but if somebody were to come to us and say, hey, I specialize in finding homes where we look for office space in addition to blah, 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 right? Because we need 5 bedrooms and a den to make it kind of 6 bedrooms. And we like a luxury modern feel, but also with like a homey feel to it. We like, like parts of wood and warm colors as well. If somebody could come up to me and say, I specialize in finding homes for entrepreneurs who work from home, like, I'd be like, okay, give me your card. Great. We'd love to go see some houses with you. Just because I'm like, there's safety in knowing, oh, you're the kind of person who takes care of people like me, right? So it's so important to niche down, and it's so important to have clarity of USP and product market fit, okay? Alrighty. So the last thing is consistency. Part 3 is consistency. And this has to do with your habits. This has to do with doing the right things that are unsexy and that are boring, but that actually build your audience, your email list, your hub, your Facebook group, your podcast, whatever it is. Okay. And that's consistency. So often what I found is that when people they'll get really excited and they'll get up to 10K, 20K, 30K. And then as soon as it's, they think they're good, because again, the faith minimum, the money minimum, they'll start backing off of the things that they were really consistent in. And then their revenue drops. And then they're like, well, what happened? I'm like, okay, if I was a fly on the wall and I saw you during the time when you were successful versus I looked at the last couple weeks, what would I notice? And chances are they stopped doing the things that made them consistent in the first place. Now, based off of, we actually did an audit last week with my assistant Kendra, and it was really awesome. So we determined that there's about 80 hours of work in my business every week that happens, okay, between 80 and 100 hours. So we did a time audit of me, and I was like, you know what, let's just do what we do for our clients, let's do it for me. And so turns out I work between 33 and 40 hours flex every week, which is perfect because I take Fridays off. And then sometimes we have to fill it with like podcasts and things like this, or errands if I end up counting that as work, which is still like busy, not free time, right? And then I try and take at least a full Friday off like once or twice a month. So, but typically it's like a very flex day or a half day or whatever, right? So I was like, okay, cool. Well, this is why like life feels pretty good right now. I don't feel worked to the bone. I don't feel like super exhausted. We have a lot of travel going on right now, which makes it super easy because we like to travel like, Thursday night through Sunday night or whatever, right? So I was like, yeah, this explains why life feels pretty good. And then I have 2 or 3 people that work for me. And then they split into 3 of me, basically. But I think back to when I used to do all these things in my business, and I'm like, man, you couldn't pay me to do all that stuff now because there's just so much little admin type things that go on. So my other encouragement to you, and my encouragement to all my clients once they get to 20 or 30K, just depending on your comfortability level of how much profit you feel like you need, is to hire a VA as soon as possible. I mean, literally, you guys, like, you can hire people, amazing, skilled, wonderful people from other countries, which we have an amazing employee from the Philippines who I love dearly and who works very, very hard for us. And she's part of the team just as much as everybody else, right? Like, works just as hard, if not harder. And my goodness, I wish she lived in America because she rocks, right? She's amazing. And so we have 3 people on our team right now that are like full time. And what I mean by that is that they work part-time hours, but they aren't working for like other companies, if that makes sense. So full time in terms of like their mindset. And, you can save a lot of money and actually get, in my opinion, better workers, harder workers, and more loyal workers as well in other countries that speak fantastic English. And just, I love Filipino culture. I think that it mends extremely well with American culture in terms of just like the most respectful, beautiful, beautiful culture, beautiful people like ever. And we're so lucky to have them, right? So just one VA, my point is, if you get to 20 or 30K a month, one VA can take 20 to 40 hours of admin work or editing or just, simple tasks that you can teach people via a Loom video. And that's the other thing that I think burns out a lot of people in their entrepreneurial journey, is that they don't know how to delegate. And one of my favorite things that we've kind of adopted in our culture at Sales Queen and Powerhouse Pageantry, which, by the way, my awesome admin team run 2 companies with me. Okay. Actually, Lizelle, shout out to Lizelle in the Philippines. She runs 3 because she works with CYP too, right? These girls are so flexible. These ladies are just amazing, and they're the wind beneath my wings. And I so appreciate them because they help execute my vision of what the Lord's told me. And I can't be doing all things to all people 24/7, right? So as soon as possible, I highly encourage you guys, if you guys are watching this, to hire a virtual assistant of some kind, whether they're in person or whether they're not. The first step for you might be hiring a nanny to help come 2 days a week where you can have 2 full work days to increase revenue, and then you hire that VA, right? But that's also why you have mentorship. You have people like we do at Sales School, where we're here to help and come alongside and build a custom plan for what that needs to look like for your business. Because everybody has a different order of things that they need to prioritize in their business, but there's also similar order for similar revenue goals based off where somebody's at, right? So like, I know that these are the 3 things that people need to work on when they're stuck from 0 to 10K. And so, yes, we're tailoring their sales strategies. Yes, we're tailoring their closing percentage and all these different things. But where a lot of people go wrong is that they work on those things first with and what I would call the fruit before they're working on the root. And when their headspace is still trash, they have all these naysayers in their life, their habits are trash, and their calendar is a mess where they don't actually even have time to work on these things, right? If we don't work on the root first, they're going to get severely discouraged when they're just focusing on why am I not closing this deal, right? And they're working from the outside in rather than the inside out. And we do this in Powerhouse Pageantry too, which is why so many people win with us. When we work on the inside first, you're also going to be able to have eyes to see and ears to hear strategically for your own business, because we're getting rid of that fight or flight. We're getting your head above water to really iron things out so that you can be the CEO of your business and you can make intelligent decisions. We come along as a strategic partner, but that you really can actually feel in control of the things that are happening and the growth and success of your business. So those are the top 3 sales mistakes that people make under 10K consistent months. I'd love for you to share this with a sister who needs to hear this. Share this with a fellow sales queen, entrepreneur, somebody that you think that this will help uplift their head out of that fight or flight, and sometimes out of the mess and the stress of what comes with being a mom and a wife and running a business and all the different things. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening today, and I'll see y'all next week.